So leave your cares behind. Just relax your mind. It's so easy to do it. Just enjoy yourself. Right. Get your groove on. Take your time tonight. Take your time. Ain't nothing but a party. Can't dance all night long. Dance all night long.
So wait a minute,
I
what's
like the way
happening?
you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it
What
up.
it do?
I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to
Little
bag it
Webby,
up.
you ain't gotta cut it
I
on
like
just
the
yet.
way you work it,
I'm gonna go
no
live
diggity.
just a second.
I got to bag
Hey,
it
yeah.
up. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I got to bag it up.
Hey, you know.
It's going down, fade to Black Street. The homies got at me, collab creations. Bump like agony, no doubt. I put it down, never slouch. As long as my credit can vouch, a dog couldn't catch me, say it out. Tell me who could stop with Dre making moves. Attracting honeys like a magnet. Giving the
Oh,
orgasms
man.
with my mellow accent. Still moving this flavor with the homies Black Street and Teddy, the original rough shakers. Shorty get down to the law. Baby got 'em open all over town. Strictly bitch, you don't play around. Cover much ground, got game by the pound. Getting paid is a forte, each and every day. True play away, I can't get her out of my mind. Wow, I think about the girl all the time.
Wow, wow.
East side to the west side, pushing fat rides, it's no surprise. She got tricks in the stash, stacking up the cash, fast when it comes to the gas. By no means average, it's on when she's got to have it. Baby, you're a perfect 10. I wanna get in. Can I get down so I can? I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up. I like the way you work it. No diggity. I got to bag it up.
See, I was resting at the park, minding my own business. I kick up the treble tone. On my radio tape, play a box right. Just loud enough so folks can hear us. Type C. Out of nowhere, comes a woman I'm dating. Investigation, maybe she was demonstrating, but nevertheless I was pleased. My day was going great, and my soul was at ease until a group of brothers started bugging out, drinking the 40 ounce, going disrespecting my black queen, holding their crotches and being obscene. At first I ignored them, cause see I know the type. They got drunk, they got guns, and yes they wanna fight. And they see a young couple having a time that's good, and the egos wanna test the brother's manhood. So they came to test me cause of my heritage and the loud bright colors that I wear. I wasn't talking cause I'm a fashion misfit, and the outfit that I'm wearing, brothers dissing it. Well I stay calm and pray leave me be. But they squeeze the parts of my date's anatomy. While Lord, you brothers have to drill me. Cause if I stop to hit this man, they'll have to kill me.
Kill me. Isis Roy's in the building. All right, man, let's go ahead and get this in. Y'all ready? Let's do it.
Hey,
Oh, you cool?
guys.
You ain't gotta cut your camera on your shit. We're gonna cut it out. You can cut the camera off right now if you want to.
No, I need people to see how beautiful I am today.
Oh, today. So you want to be amongst the living. We appreciate
I'm a
it.
blonde. Wait a minute. I'm a blonde.
Today. I see, boy, you right. That medication works, doesn't it?
Don't it?
I mean, the smile is the different. It's glowing. I'm like, I see you, dog. Man. Well, look, since that's the case, you glowing. I need you to go and do the prayer then. Come on, let's
Okay,
do
I'll
it.
do the prayer. I'll do the prayer.
All right, let's get it.
All right, Heavenly Father, we bow our heads just thanking you today for God, your grace, because your grace is enough and it is sufficient. You've seen us through ups, you see us through downs, you see us through things that we don't yet know that we're coming to, and you see us through it because you don't lead us to it if you're not going to see us through it, Lord. And we just want to thank you for today. Thank you for tomorrow. Thank you for the promises that we've already fulfilled for us and the ones that have yet to be fulfilled. We ask that you bless each and every member of this cast show. Bless this sharing of information that would touch someone and just further the agenda that you would have us go forward, Lord. So we just ask all these things in your Son Jesus' name. I pray. Amen.
Amen. Come on, she back. I like when she back.
You like when I'm back?
I like when you back. You know, when you're on your P's and Q's. I like that. Nah, I'm glad you in good health, man. For sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling much better. Medicine is a
Well, good.
miracle.
Little Wavy. Worlds of curls. There she go. Oh, in her Zeta form in the background. Lord have mercy. Well, let's go and get cracking then. Ain't no time to wait. Look, I'm gonna do something for the show though. Hold up. You know, just to set the mood, because I know it was a little outside. You know, we had a little thunderstorm.
Yeah, man. Yes.
Look at Webby talking about you such a charismatic mother. Watch your mouth. I'm gonna give y'all the first verse. Y'all can just feel something. I'm gonna take y'all to the concert.
On a perfect day,
You can't do it.
know that I
Okay.
can count.
You can't.
Girl, look, this is my jam. What is you talking about?
That's not possible. Tell me, can you ever afford?
And then Ralph come in like that.
Cause I
'Cause I need
Need
somebody
somebody
stand by me through the good
good
times,
times, the
bad
bad
times.
times. They won't always be
Right
right there.
there, sunny
Sunny
day.
day. Everybody
Everybody
has them.
tell
Tell
me,
me,
baby,
baby,
can
can
you
you
stand
stand
the
the
rain?
rain?
Let me tell you something. I know every dance move to this song.
Every dance move. You was in the
Every
mirror.
dance move to this
You was in
song.
the mirror
Now,
like that.
real talk. You know, I like the way they did it on my movie, Best Man Holiday.
Yeah.
That's dope. All right, let's get cracking. I'm through playing with y'all.
My dogs actually were howling dogs.
One, two. When it don't want.
2, 3. We're here for a particular reason.
Time to put the kids to bed.
And that reason is
It's time for the full 180.
What up? What up? What up? As my boy Mark Lawrence would say, man, it's Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's time for another edition of the Full 180. I know you're excited. I'm excited too, man. Hello, happy Tuesday to you. Terrific Tuesday to you. Hope you had a good day. I know the weather is not as terrific as we expect, but look, man, we still on this side to make sure we produce. So look, you can gotta give blessings to that, man. We're gonna get right into it because I told him today I'm not holding nothing back today. We're just gonna get on to it. I'm gonna hit the hot spot so we can get to it. I got a what if in just a second, but before we get there, man, I want to make sure you know about the DFW American African American Book Club hosted on April 15th. It goes down this week. It's free to the public. Hey, man, we need to take our kids out to make sure they're reading. So that's why I promote this. I definitely like this. If you have a small business, make sure you holler at my homeboy. Antoine is going down this weekend. He does it at the end of every month. So 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm probably going to roll out there if I'm not doing that during the day. You go check my dude out to see what's going on. But if you want to be a vendor, make sure you holler at them. It is inside a mall. When I tell you the mall is jam-packed with people, they normally have musical performances on stage and things like that. So go check that out. We are 95 days away from the North Texas Juneteenth celebration, man. Shout out to my man, Mr. Durr Blur, Queen Blur, how are you as well? And everybody that will be associated with this, Miss Pat Bailey, Heal America. Y'all see us on the brochure right there. It says the full
Right
180. Yep.
there for
Right
180.
there. Look at here, man. Big things. I'm gonna keep telling y'all, God is opening up doors, and He amazes me every day. So look, but yes, we are putting together the Wellness Expo. Your boy will be the MC along with AJ the DJ and Jay Owens outside on the main stage, and then I will also be emceeing the inside for the expo for the panels where we will actually do our show with Luster and Heal America. There's some others, but you can see all the sponsors that will be there at the actual Juneteenth celebration. We narrowed it down just to one day. It'll be in the same spot. We'll have tents. We ask you to bring your chairs and be ready for a full packed show on that day. Don't forget my boy and my brother. He's out of town at the moment, taking care of business, man. Shout out to his queen. Our condolences to his queen. She just lost his father, so he's down there taking care of that. But, he's normally Flavor Fridays at Cafe Firewood Daiquiri Shop in Garland from Friday, each and every Friday from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. So make sure to check him out. Man, don't forget, April 24th is going down. This is my girl. We like sisters and brothers for real. Devonna. This is my ace, and my other sister is Tori Lee. I mean, I've been knowing them for years, but she is the host and the creator of the pop-up shop along with the Divas. It's going down at the Diva Style Salon. If you want to be a vendor, make sure you contact her. You can see it all on my Facebook page. I put it up there if you want to contact to be a vendor. You can DM her at pop-up junkie shop at Gmail. Is that right? Yeah, popupjunkiesshop@gmail.com or DM for vendor opportunities. And like she said, there's only a few spots left. Mother's Day weekend, man. I am so excited. I cannot wait. My homeboy in the corner, Mr. Tony, we're putting together a Mother's Day brunch with live entertainment with none other than Soulful Sound. Sean G, which is from, if you ever heard Intense Band, he'll be there. My homeboy AD Bonner, #GramFam will be in the building, man, as well as Dre Lindsay. This is what you do not want to miss. I promise you. It's going live at Tucci. Of course, your boy will be on the ones and twos. I could put the link in the actual chat so you can actually click on that to buy your tickets. But it's going to be early in the day. If you have not planned anything for Mother's Day, you want to listen to some live music and a great band, please come out and check out Soulful Sounds. And of course, your boy will be on the ones and twos. You know I do it every third and fourth Friday with the Dallas Poetry Slam. Shout out to Miss Candy. Crush Titan, which I just found out is my frat brother. I mean, Titus and Titan. Of course, Nova, and it's a gang of them, man. But I'm there, I'm there every third and fourth Friday, man. We do third Fridays is Snaps and Clicks, where it's a comedy show and a poetry show. And then Friday, it's a poetry show with live entertainment. So come check me out. We are at the Chocolate Lounge, man, and we are definitely coming to a city near you. And this is what I'm most excited about. She has put me on the show to DJ at Coachella 2022. Understand, if you ain't been to Coachella, if you're not a brother or a woman of words and how you put adjectives and nouns together, this was my main reason to want to go to DC or move to DC. The first jam session I ever seen with Erykah Badu, Mos Def, Kanye, Common, The Roots, I was in DC doing something with Greg Street at the time. But when I tell you, I went down the street and went to a poet spot, man, it's nothing like it. And who she has in these lineups for poets, I'm not gonna tell you about them. I want you to Google them. Like Rudy Francisco, oh my God, masterpiece. I got a chance to meet her a long time ago. Roscoe, Talum, Crush is part of the Dallas Poetry Slam, and she's internationally known. Desan and CP Mays, man, all these poets are going to be there. There's going to be poets from all over the state. So you gotta come to this. If you are a person of poetry and like words and are fascinated in how words are put together, you don't want to miss this. And I have been blessed. Once again, doors are opening them up for your boy. And I'm so glad to be a part of this. And I can't wait until Coachella 2022. I think it will happen in August if I'm not mistaken, but I would definitely keep you abreast of what it is. But you don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss this. This is her second one, so shout out to Miss Candy for doing her thing. Don't forget, we do karaoke on the first and last week of every month at Michael's, hosted by my man Z. Of course, yours truly be on the ones and twos. Look, man, good food, good drink. Doors open up at 4. Karaoke starts at 7. And I think we there till like 10:30. So come check us out. Come have a good time. You know I'm there on Saturdays, Upscale Saturdays. And I need to get into this before we go into anything else. Condolences out to none other than Mr. Godfrey. Dwayne Haskins, if you don't know, he was a quarterback for the Redskins, also for Ohio State. He won the Rose Bowl. He was hit by a car. There's still information coming out about that. You know, I'll let Charles dig into it a little bit more. But other than that, man, you know, definitely condolences. He was only 24 years old. Man, think about that.
Doing nothing.
Brother lost his life at 24.
It had everything. Woo! You know, you think everything is everything. And you still, you know, you never promise. No matter how rich, no matter how poor, no matter how where you are. When he calls you, he calls you. That's
it, man. And Mr. Godfrey, if you don't know him, man, he was on.
I need you to understand. He was one of the best voices in comedy. You always knew Gilbert Godfrey. Yeah, you know, the eyes.
Well, thank you, Miss Roy. I wasn't expecting that, but I appreciate that. But I love him. I am a Beverly Hills Cop fan. So he was in Beverly Hills Cop. He's been in several other different movies. But we actually lost him as well. So
you don't forget his most iconic role, though, G.
What is it? Go on, tell me what his most iconic role was.
He was the parrot in Aladdin.
Was he?
Yes, he was.
Okay. Now, you know,
he was the parrot in Aladdin, and he was well known for that role.
Good. Well, these two men, we definitely tip our hats out to them, man, and to their families, and hope, you know, you don't think you ever get over somebody, but you do manage. So we definitely can send our condolences to them, man. C's out of town, Bree's doing the mother thing, and of course I got the fam in here, which is the queen. Should I say License Roy? She's back in the building. And of course, Lil Webby. Man, look,
Lil
let me tell you
Webby.
something. Lil Webby. And because Lil Webby here, it's been a minute, but since Lil Webby here, I gotta give her something.
2, 3, we're here for a particular reason.
Time to put the kids to bed.
Oh, that wasn't it. Hold on. Cause see, y'all have to know Lil Webby. You know what I'm saying? She looks like this old nice, you know, sweet, or whatever, young lady, you know what I'm saying, very educated. And you gotta understand why we call her Lil Webby, you know what I'm saying? Because if you don't know the word or something, she going to the dictionary, because she gonna make you use it right. But let me tell you something, when she not in that dictionary, she turns up.
Real estate to get my mind flowing. Dress it up, you know the Nassau. 200 miles on the dash. Got a rubber pound up a gas.
Hey. There you go.
There she goes.
You know that's my favorite song.
She ready to go to NASA at any time. She ain't playing with you. But this is Lil Webby, aka Elisa. She is a member of the Zeta Phi Beta sorority. You see it in the back. Them doves,
show some respect on it. Put incorporate, please. Can we get some respect on that?
I was gonna get there. I put some respect on your name all the time.
Oh, you forgot my affiliation though. You showed this move. Just ice over
you
there.
part of Delta Sigma Theta, girl. Look, she a guest. You a regular today.
Today. Lil Webby.
Yes, ma'am.
Lil Webby, get him. Tell him, don't forget as soon as you say Z-Bar, you better put some respect on that.
You know, I ain't gonna get on them tonight.
The only sorority and fraternity
wait. Let me do it. The only constitutionally bound brother and sister organization there is.
Yeah, that's how many members they really needed. But anyway, y'all don't want.
My boyfriend was a Sigma. My boyfriend was a Sigma when I was pledging.
Oh, look at that. That's a good thing.
Members of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated don't pledge. We intake in a membership intake process.
Oh,
we're a non-hazing organization.
So is Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. When I went through my intake process, it was beautiful. There was, it was beautiful. We are a non-hazing organization.
Look, some of these
Fall
lies
97.
I am not. These lies that are told are not by the full 180 endorsed at all. All I'm going to say is I understand what thunder and lightning really is. That's all I'm saying. But hedging was great. It was inspiring. I
My
will always say that was very inspiring.
Process was very, very learning. But we have a sponsor tonight, Fred.
What is the sponsor, Mr. Roy?
Bam for the teenagers. Throw it back. We got the
yeah.
jalapeno hot Cheetos. If your booty ain't burning, here it is. Bam, right there. You no longer have to take the regular Cheetos and squeeze that jalapeno juice on it. They done it for you.
Okay. Well, make sure they send you that check. And we need to be to full 180 Convo. Yeah. All right.
One day somebody gonna say,
you know what? Say it. Hey, girl, speak that into existence. I tell you. God is out here blessing people. You hear me?
You know that crazy woman that be having all kinds. It started with the foot soap, though.
Yeah.
It started with the Johnson's foot soap.
Oh, dude. So I have a what if for you before we get into the show. Good. I got just enough time. This is a what if. All right, y'all ready? So there's a story where a man and woman had a kid, right? And they end up divorcing. And their kid was about 2 or 3. Well, the mother was winging the kid off of, getting on the breast to be fed, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So this particular day, the kid comes home and the mama says, hey, Johnny, are you hungry? And he said, funny, I use my daddy name. And she's talking about no. He was like, no. And that was kind of odd. So she's like, okay, what's going on? And she said, well, why are you not hungry? Well, child can still talk. They're at that age. So he said, I had booby. So she looked, a little confused, like, okay, I'm not breastfeeding you anymore. Come to find out, the ex-husband's wife was breastfeeding the baby. Mm-mm. If you found out, what?
You play too much. That's not funny. That's not even nothing to play around. That's not even nothing.
I'm not playing, but it's a true story.
Somebody fixing to die today.
So what if?
There's no what if.
There's no what if.
It's unimaginable. I can't. My mind the situation. So no.
I can't.
But what if you found
this out? My seed.
There's no what if.
My seed. My son.
Technically, is your son and his son.
No, there's no what if because it's unimaginable.
That's my breast milk. You don't do that. That is a lie. This is not the 1800s. We ain't got no wet nurses running around here.
Exactly.
No, this is not cute. Nobody breastfeeds my baby.
So then now I'm gonna turn you in for sexual assault?
Thank you. Because and wait a minute, why she got breast milk? We didn't talk about where there was another child.
Because the young lady is nursing their other child.
He was creeping. So he had 2 people of
No. They're divorced.
That means he was creeping.
The first one was divorced, and now he remarried, and he has a child now.
He could be creeping.
He could be creeping.
He would have had to creep because you said the baby was 2 or 3, and now she's nursing.
Thank you. We know.
And you nursed for about 18 months. As a grown man, I wish you would. I wish you would. So I'm gonna be real with
a woman.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be real with it. Look now. I already told mine. I'm not sharing both my breasts. You can have one of them. These mine. This belong to me. I've had these before you, so you can't get both of them. You can't get this, bro.
Help us, Lord.
You just can't. No,
you will not be arguing with the baby over the booty.
I'm telling you the truth. I ain't sharing. Look, in the words of the comedian, you didn't put in on this, man. So I'm sure one. I can't share both. I'm sorry.
So you're gonna be drinking breast milk?
Look at her. Whatever the case may be, I still will have mine. And I'm gonna have one particular. Let's just be real straight about what I'm talking about right now.
See, not right. Not right. You didn't put in on it, huh? He didn't put in on it.
You didn't put in on this. Look, it wasn't for me. You wouldn't be here.
Webby, get your boy Webby.
Say, look, I mean what I say, and what's been discussed should be understood. Anyway, let's all get to the show.
You know what? Because you know what? Let me address this now. I can't get him. He grown.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
I turn that off when I hit the door. It's all you. It's all you.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I mean, you don't have to agree, but I do think that's kind of crazy. This is like, why would your new wife think that would be okay? Period.
Why did your husband think that was okay?
That too. Like, did y'all discuss this?
Thank you. There's something kind of odd about that. And then if he's and I mean, just as a breastfeeding mother, the first time Kayla clamped down, she became a expressed breast milk baby. So if you old enough and tall enough and strong enough to say booby, that means you got some teeth. So that means I'm calling CPNS.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that's sexual assault.
That's sexual assault. Yeah, I mean that's that's nasty.
Oh boy, look.
And that's weird. As a woman, like what psychological problems are you going through to want to breastfeed someone else's child?
Very weird. That's my whole point. And that's a good segue into what we're talking about today. The topic today is the truth is the hardest pill to swallow. Man, part 2. We are endeavoring into triggers.
And we're not talking about Trey Songz.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you said that.
He just has one trigger.
So I'm gonna give you this, and we're gonna jump right into it. People don't trigger you; they trigger your triggers. You're not your trigger. You are moved by your trigger reaction. Your trigger usually points to what you need to heal. You are responsible for your trigger in healing. Ms. Roy, I'm gonna let you have it.
You know, I'm so glad that God saw us to this day, because all I do is deal with triggers. And it's become a new buzz phrase. She triggered me. She triggered me. That was a trigger. She triggered me. What you have to understand is, do you even know what your triggers are? Do you know what a trigger is? A trigger is actually a device that manipulates another device to cause an effect. So what you're dealing with really is manipulation. When you're talking about triggers, you're just talking about manipulation. And are you the manipulator or the manipulatee? That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing.
So how would you recognize if you're the manipulator? If you're being
manipulator, well, the manipulator, that's an easy role to recognize, because you're constantly gaslighting. You pouring the fuel on the fire. You're the one that's, what ifing it, if you will. You're the one that's, leading into conversations and leading into things happening that cause people to get upset. And your goal, you're trying to achieve a goal. Manipulators have a goal. If my goal as a manipulator is I am going to get out to do A, B, C, D thing, then I have to know ahead of time to do and manipulate A, B, C, D thing. And that is why I am a manipulator. That is why I am triggering. I am trying to pull something to happen so that I can accomplish my goals and I can get my needs met. And manipulators most often are the most needy people in your life. Think about it. Think about the person who is the most needy person in your life. How do they manipulate you? Mothers, this Mother's Day is coming close. Kids. Number one triggers are our children. We just got through talking. We just opened up the segment. Just talking about the fact of our child being put in a situation that we cannot control, or being in a situation that is not of our blessing, is a trigger for us. It causes something. It's something that manipulates us. So you have to be really aware of who you are allowing to trigger you, who you're allowing in your circle. Because in order for you to be triggered, they have to get close enough for you to pull it.
So, Lil Webby, who is the? She said manipulator. What is the thought process of the other side of that? What did you say? The manipulator and the manipulatee. Is that
Mm-hmm.
correct?
That's
Okay.
manipulating. Mm-hmm. It's not a real word, but it
The
works.
person that's being manipulated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, an example, like when relationship, somebody want to do their own thing, whether it be go out, go kick it, try to go see the boo that don't nobody know that they got a boo, and they
Right.
start a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Get out the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's the manipulator. The manipulated remembers that every time someone
Yes.
starts a fight with me,
Yes.
they're gonna, what's the word I'm looking for? Relate
Internalize
that
it.
back
Mm-hmm.
to that event every time somebody wants to start a fight with them. They're gonna relate it back to that event.
It becomes a part of their narrative.
Right.
So if
Their
you do
life
something,
narrative.
if you are, so let's say you in a situation like you, I'm gonna use what Webby said. You in a relationship, and something is always triggered. Like I can use my marriage, right? My my past marriage. I just like to use examples, try to build a vision. I felt like there was never a time where I could talk to you because I didn't know what was going to trigger you. Period. I could say the moon is blue, and you want to have a whole argument about the moon is blue. We could be in the middle of a conversation, and then you'll take it to a whole nother place. Or what I like to use is you jump over the moon and run to the sun. Straight to the negative part of the dialect. It's just not. It can never stay just right there in the moment in the conversation. Right. And then from there, from somehow, some reason, you just go into the ceiling. Well, at that time, I didn't know. She took that as a sense of control because one, I was different. So since I was different, you didn't know what to do with me because you're used to controlling things, and that's gonna lead me to something else I'm about to say. So therefore, I didn't recognize it then. So of course, she in the ceiling, I'm in the ceiling. But it was just like, and then you hear, and then like even when we finally divorced, when it got back to her friends, I seen one of her friends in the mall, and she called me, talked to me, and told me, "How can you do my girl like that?" And I was like, "Do you not know what your girl was doing?" Mm. And so she started talking about, well, nah, da 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 da. And then I showed her on my phone the proof. You see what your girl was doing. And she was like, nah, she didn't do that. So one, now I understand she didn't tell you the whole story. So now you got me out here looking real bad because you ain't told the whole story. And it's like, so I've always seen it as you wanted to control everything. And I used to say to her all the time, you're not Nintendo. And I'm not either. I'm not trying to control you. What I'm trying to do is for us to get an understanding and have a conversation. But I can't talk to you because every time we talk, you run out the door. It's just like, and then after a while, I just be like, okay, do you? Because I'm tired. I don't want to argue with you no more. I'm done. I've tried to talk to you, so you don't want to talk? Cool. I'm not going to fight with you. I'm over that. And I will go publicly and announce this, since everybody know how I feel. I'm always talking about triggers. I will publicly admit that I do have a trigger. I realized that the other day. Hold on. Slow down. But they know I'm always going in about, man, why triggers always gotta be negative? But I do have a trigger, and my trigger is, and I realized this. My trigger is, I use this word called show up. I want you to take that word in place of it, put commitment. And my trigger is if you're a person that cannot show up or be committed, then that makes me feel unsafe around you. What I mean by that, and I can use just my ex marriage and some other relationships that I went through. I'm committed, hands down. If I'm in, I'm in. I don't know what it is to leave and all that kind of stuff. I'm not telling you we done this and that. But through my marriage and some other relationships, I've had issues where we're in the hard kind of conversation, and the first thing you do is I'm done. I'm ready to go. Even when I was married, I got threatened with divorce so long. Like I said, I'm done with this. And then you turn incognito for 2 or 3 days, and I don't hear from you. And then instead of trying, because I'm still in it. I'm still trying, and I'm still in it until I get to the point where I'm done. And that's what happened in my marriage. It got to the point where you kept telling me, just leave. I'm done. I'm this, I'm that. But then you say you done, then you saying, but then you texting me, or then you want us to talk. But I'm trying to stay in the situation. I'm trying to stay in the relationship. And when you start doing that, my thing is that feels unsafe for me. So I can't build nothing with you. I can't even have a conversation with you. Because between communication and commitment, to me, those are the two biggest things that should be a part of a relationship, or that's what sustains a relationship. And if I can't trust you to be committed, how can I trust you to be in a marriage? So that is my trigger. I figured that part out. I have admitted it. I'm pretty sure somewhere Lisa and Tiffany are happy. This one I heard. Okay, Ms. Roy. But I can admit it now.
Nothing. I didn't say nothing. I was just smiling at the beautiful.
But that bothers me because I am the person that will give you grace and mercy until the end. The problem is, it seems though I can't never get that grace and mercy back
in return.
And when I don't, and when I don't, it puts me in a whole nother place where I start my word fading to black, and then you don't exist to me anymore. I have to think of you as dead.
Well, is you start shutting down.
Right.
Because your trigger has been popped.
Right.
And you've popped the pop off. And once that energy has been expended, you shut down. And then you become totally useless. That's why triggers are so exhausting.
Yes, I will say that. And I don't want to argue anymore. I'll get to the point where I'm at that point now. I don't need any drama in my life. I have a lot of things going on. And that's why I express I want to help meet. I don't want a wife. Because it's I just have a lot of stuff going on where I just don't need all that day. I think about President Obama and Michelle all the time. If he had to spend more time in his room at the president's office arguing with Michelle, how the hell could he get anything done?
He couldn't.
It's just like, and I'm pretty sure they had some heated conversations or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And that's typical. That's typical in any committed relationship. There's going to be some hard conversations. But that whole fleeing and all that kind of stuff, I just can't deal with it.
Well, and you have some people out there who harass you, like, and I'm sorry if I step on anybody's toes. I think that one of the biggest triggers that women do that we pull on our men is we harass them at work. If a man is at work and he's trying to make his paper, let it go. Give it 8, 9 hours, maybe 12 hours. Let him make his paper. There is no need to continually trigger him at work. But it happens. And the reason why I bring that up is because I've seen examples of it. I see men, and I only say I don't want to step on women's toes because I already know there's women out there who I am not the favorite because of my philosophy toward things, dealing with women. But to be real, never really have. I've given all 3 of them. But predominantly men complain about being triggered by their women. And it's like we snipe. Women are the number one snipers. We go in, we from a distance, and we aim it, and we pull that trigger and then dip out. You don't even know we did it, but it's been done. And that lasting effect can affect your relationship. Mm-hmm. And I just call that out because women, we are more astute with words than men.
So, look, Webby, have you experienced it? The whole shutdown, the whole trigger. Like, I know you used to be married, so I didn't know if, have you ever experienced the whole shutdown? Have y'all shut it down because of triggers? Have you shut down because, the whole bait you in type of thing or whatnot?
So when I was married, my ex-husband and I would stop talking. We would shut down. We had very poor communication. There would be times, multiple times, weeks on end, we wouldn't talk to each other, just going through the motion. There was a time where when we first got married, actually before we got together, we would talk all the time about fears and internal struggles and all these other things. And at some point throughout the marriage, it stopped. I don't know when it stopped. I can't tell you if it was me, if it was him, or what happened. And as a result, what I noticed with him is that he would start to become withdrawn from intimacy, withdrawn from sex, withdrawn from talking to me. Like I didn't know what was going on with him. And so then I started to do the same thing to him. I started to not discuss with him what was going on with me. And I was telling someone today, like what one particular day we were sitting in the living room, he was just like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Nothing, what you talking about?" Because I had gotten so used to existing in our marriage. And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. What you talking about?" You know, he was like, "What is going on with you?" And honestly, I couldn't even convey to him what was going on with me because it was just a conglomerate of things. And I knew I would have overwhelmed him in a moment because I was even overwhelmed by him even asking me the question.
Right.
So.
And it becomes second nature. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes we function in that state. When you function in that shutdown state, how much do you think that attributed to the end of your marriage?
Oh, it definitely contributed to the end of our marriage. Like I said, again, there was a conglomerate of things that ultimately led to the demise of our marriage. So, and it took some time. Because like I tell people, it took us we have a daughter together. And it took us 5 years for us to start talking again.
Wow.
Wow. So let me ask you this, since when you mentioned about fears, if you ever get a chance, watch this show called The Pivot. Man, it's Ron Clark, Freaky Freddy, Channing Crowder, and they do these interviews, and you know they go outside the box, and they're ex-NFL players talking to NFL players or just anybody, right? But they had this interview with Charles Haley, and Charles Haley said they were talking. He said, "I live in fear. I live in fear in my own head." That floored me, right? So it made me think, even with these triggers, you know, it's mental, health awareness month. With these triggers, are some of these triggers something? Is it? Because I don't know. Well, I don't know even if my trigger is that. But is some of these triggers a mental issue where you're living in fear in your own head? And is it possible to live in fear in your own head and have a what I want to say, a worthwhile relationship?
No.
Okay. Let's expound on that.
So, 2-part answer. I want to give that guy a hug for even acknowledging that he's living in fear in his head first. Because a lot of people don't admit that no matter what you got going on or how successful people may think you are, you still have your own internal fears and or struggles. Like I was saying, this was some years back. This is at the height of Mariah Carey's career. And she was saying she was depressed. And people couldn't understand why she was depressed. She was like, "You're making millions of dollars. You live in this big old house. You can have any man you want." But she was still unhappy for whatever reason. I hope now in 2022, she has come to grips with whatever it is that was going on with her. So I get it. As an individual, I felt that same way too, especially when it came to my current relationship because of my experiences with the past. And granted, he didn't know that all this was going on in my head because I never expelled it to him. And I had my own little breakdown with it. And I was like, okay, if I want to say I want to be with him, start anew, be fresh, be open, I'm going to have to let that go and not be fearful of the what if that may happen between him and I.
The word is paranoia. That's when you live in fear and you live in your head. And what you did, Webby, is you got rid of the paranoia, but it is there. It's always there. Paranoia it's an actual thing I have to check off when I do my mental health. Like when someone comes to my office, I always do what's called an MSE, and that's like, where are they at right now? And paranoia, like, are they in a state of paranoia? Are they like, fearing something that's about to happen? There's a whole school of thought, cognitive behavioral therapy. It's teaching people to not deal with the what ifs, because there are people who what if their way into staying at home all the time. They don't leave the house because they're so afraid of what might happen, of the what ifs, of the, if you will, the shoulda, woulda, couldas. And those shoulda, woulda, couldas become their own prisons, because instead of living life and taking those risks and just living authentically, we live in fear. But that fear is most often self-imposed, and we trigger ourselves. And then we get mad at other people when they step on that paranoia, or they trigger that paranoia, and we blame them and lash out at them, and then shut down, and then go back into, our little hidey holes and stay safe, what we feel is safe in our mind. But it's really just a cycle. It's just a cycle effect. And it's just paranoia. And it's so real. I mean, how many women do you know, or men who, you start dating somebody, new relationships, prime example. And you hear your partner, your significant other on the phone, and you hear a voice either of either the same sex as you, and you're hoping that it's not them creeping or doing something else. I've actually had friends who have left their partners, been getting ready to spend time with their boo, heard that boo pick up the phone, and it might be a female voice or a male voice or the voice of the same sex, whichever relationship type that you're in, and they leave. They get mad. They have a whole explosion. And then they turn around and say to that person, well, you triggered me. I've been cheated on before, and I've been this and I've been that. And when I heard that voice, I got triggered. And then you stepped in another room, it made me think this. That's that paranoia.
But if the person hasn't, okay, and I'm trying to go along with this, but if the person hasn't give you any shadow of a doubt that they are cheating, did anything remotely, you mean the mind just automatically goes to you cheat?
Okay, this is what your mind does.
That's
your mind. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
You good, Lil. Because you're just doing it for me. Let me finish drinking my water. Go on ahead.
I'm in school to be a therapist, so I'm sorry.
That's why this show is good. Got 2 therapists on the show.
I'm aspiring. I'm still a teacher right now. So gotcha. Your mind remembers your mind and your body remembers the memory, regardless of who did it. Exactly. It remembers the memory. So when someone says you triggered an emotion, it's not you per se. The emotion was triggered because your mind and your body remember what was done to them negatively.
Come on, human growth and development. Come on. Come on, mental health status.
Although that individual may have triggered the emotion, it's not you. I am right. If you trigger an emotion of mine, it's not you, it's the emotion, and I have to be cognizant of how I respond to you, because you didn't do it, somebody else did, but my mind and my body responded to the emotion.
Come on, counseling 101.
So if you're the one, if you're the person on the other side of it, then how do you deal with it?
Depends on the number of times. Depends on the number of times you've been accused of being the trigger. I mean, you can only deal with so much insecurity and paranoia. You can only deal with so much, because that's what it is. It's like you in Vietnam. You walking over Vietnam. There are people in Vietnam can't even walk in a field because they still just stepping and creeping, waiting for that landmine to explode. That's what some people's life is like. I'm fixing to go in this house. I don't know what I'm fixing to come into today. I'm just going to tiptoe around the situation and hope I don't, boom, trigger him or her.
But is that you creating?
It's not you.
Creating.
It was already there. It was already there.
Okay. So would you say in those, because I think I've done that before, even in my ex-marriage and some other relationships, I've created a person. I created a person in that situation so I can be able to deal with it. So, like, they always mess with they mess with Lil Webby and call her Killer. Because a long time ago, you could just say something. And she was like a fox. She was like a lighter. She's ready every time.
Come on, Lil Webby.
Every time. She ready. And finally somebody asked her, like, man, what is wrong with you? And she said, why? And then her answer was, why everybody trying to F over me? And then, the person that was starting, the way I got the story was, not everybody's trying to F over you. Why you keep thinking that? Right. But I'll let you expound on that. I'm sorry. Go ahead. But I thought that was a good story because I know you told me that story.
This is what had happened after my marriage. So, because I did this all the way wrong. I got divorced, started dating someone. Well, actually, I hadn't even got divorced yet and started dating someone. I was with my ex-husband. We were together for 11 years, married for 9. Going through the divorce, ended up being with someone for 5 years. So I went from one extreme to another. And I'll tell you about that another day. But so after that relationship, I was angry at everybody who had ever done anything to me. So my mindset was, anybody can get it today, all day long. I had time for all those times that I never gave it to them, for whoever who hurt me. And so my coworker, she passed me in the hallway and I might have been spewing off about something, who knows? And she was like, what is wrong with you? And tears just started coming because I didn't even understand the magnitude of angriness that I was at. Because I was so angry with everybody. Pick somebody. The sky was wrong. The sky was going to get talk crazy too. The bear said it. The bear was going to get talk crazy too. Everybody was getting it.
Man, I hope your students didn't come in class.
Right?
That trigger. Anybody
to me, that would have been, I mean, from what I know, she's not like that now, but to me, that would have been hard just to have a friendship with you. Because you don't know when you're going to pop out. At any time. Matter of fact, shout out to Slim Thick. What she explained to me was in her relationship, because she explained it this way, and I thought it was so good, and I want y'all to elaborate on it. She said she's never used to participating in a relationship. She was always managing the relationship. If you know Slim Thick, she's a manager. Like she's been a manager. She worked at Target, so like she's been head in charge. Well, all her relationships were she ran them. Do what I want you to do. If you don't do what I want you to do, then we're done, or whatnot. She has recently confessed that, some of her majority of her relationships, she messed up. It wasn't necessarily them. And kudos to her. But she explained that she wasn't participating in a relationship, marriage relationship. When she got to the particular person she's with now, she realized I can't run him. Right. So now that I can't run him, so she built up in her head this whole I don't trust you, because it was different. And because it was different, she built up the whole non-trust. She kept herself, waiting for the ball to drop. That's how she explained. Right. So after a while, she, recently started, she started going to therapy or whatnot. And then she started realizing all these types of things. One thing she always says is that she's thankful that she has a person in her life who didn't give up on her. Because she was, in the beginning, she was terrible. Like, it was just, they was fighting. They didn't see the end of the road, the whole nine. Now, of course, they're totally different now. But the fact that the way that what I want to hit on is that she said it in that type of manner, that we don't participate in our relationships when we live in this sphere. Instead, we try to manage them. Is that a protection and control? Or like we just said, is it a fear?
I think it's a control mechanism and a fear. It's protecting yourself. I mean, it's like triggering you, because what happens is like, you ever seen like those movies where, there's a battleship and people start firing the weapons and then all of a sudden the shields go up, and that's because it's a response. You're attacking me, or I am anticipating attack. So I'm gonna put my shields up and I'm gonna pull myself in to protect myself. Well, sometimes in the midst of protecting yourself, you also shut out the thing that can help you. These shields that we tend to put up, these defense mechanisms, they're also a rebounding effect too. because you never, kind of like Lil Webby was saying, I imagine, your coworker seeing you walking down the hallway and you have this shield, this exterior, this tough, impenetrable shell. And it's amazing that, 5 words. What's wrong? What's wrong with I'm sorry, 4 words. What's wrong with you? Broke that shell down. But that's what it took. The strangest things will break that shell, but it's like I said, defense mechanisms can also block out our healing.
So with that being said, I want you to jump in with Webby. What else she told me was her therapist said she was in the infinite stages of understanding. Have y'all ever heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead. Since you know what I'm talking about, go ahead, talk.
No, yeah, I can't always talk. Little,
Say, man, just talk, man. We ain't seen you in years.
I had never heard anyone say that up until today, but I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I was like, when you said my therapist, I was like, my therapist didn't tell me that.
No.
My therapist told me something.
I ain't talking about your therapist, ma'am. I don't know your therapist.
Her name Keisha Butler.
Oh,
she's over downtown Dallas.
What up?
Wait a minute. Shout out Keisha Butler. I think I know who you are. CES. Go ahead, supervisor. Go ahead. I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
But this thought process of the infinite stages of understanding, what does that mean?
First of all, you have to understand infinity means that you never stop. It's a recursive process. That's what an infinity symbol is. It's the thing that goes over and over and over and over and over again. So it means that you never stop learning and understanding about yourself. You should never stop learning and understanding about yourself. The only person who's reached true ignorance is the person who says, I have nothing left to learn. Especially if you're talking about yourself, because you continually grow and develop and change. 43-year-old Christina is not the same as 19-year-old Christina. And, 40-year-old Christina is different than 43-year-old Christina. So, right. When you talk about infinite understanding that you are continually developing creature. At least that's what I get from it. Lil Webby, you want to add to it?
So I have a question. Is it infinity or infancy?
Infant. Infant stage of understanding.
Infinite. FINI.
INFANT. Infant.
Yeah. Oh, so you're forever trapped in that constant need state cycle. That constant I need, fulfill, meet my need.
Okay.
You're constantly stuck in that stage. You're not growing.
I have a problem with that when you stay in that space, because you can't be in a relationship and only so fixated on your needs. And some of your needs you can do yourself. You don't have to wait on someone else to do those things for you. And that was a hard truth that I had to learn when I was married. I always wanted my spouse at the time to go hang out, do this and do that. When honestly, I could have done some of those things myself. I didn't understand when I was married the first time that I still needed to have a level of individuality being married. I didn't understand how the two would coexist. So I would get frustrated and not do things because my spouse didn't want to do them.
Okay. So, and then I know that story goes further when you finally got divorced and got somebody that you can do all that stuff with. Go ahead.
Right. So then I again went from one extreme. I went from a homebody to somebody who wanted to be in these streets 24/7.
In the streets, huh?
Yeah, he's in the streets. So which was cool in the beginning because I didn't want to have a reminder of what I had come from. But then we at year 3, and I'm like, you don't want to
sit down.
Like
them streets still the same, ain't nothing else in it.
Like today we don't want to cook today in the house, like just so yeah, he was giving me what I want, but I didn't know what extreme that it was happening. So I'm like, okay, well I encountered the homebody who didn't want to do anything. Then I went to the person who wanted to kick it to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, like every night. And I mean, no exaggeration.
And
still
you got lesson plans, dude.
Right. Who still wanted, and I have a kid, so I couldn't be out like that. So I was like, okay, well, I don't like that either. I needed a balance of both. Because I'm not a homebody. But sometimes I do like to be at home.
Mm-hmm.
So now in my current relationship, I'm like, we can do both. Sometimes it's Netflix and chill. Sometimes we get out here and be in these streets, and it's okay. We can do both.
It sounds like that the second gentleman that you met and you were in the 5-year relationship, it sounds like he was giving you what you wanted, but not what you needed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So would you say, because I've heard you say this to me when we're talking, would you relate that to your phrase you use, real versus fake?
So
love it.
Hey, I'm just going by what you say.
I know. So why I was saying that is that when I was in this very low place, especially after I had gotten divorced and then post the 5-year relationship, I couldn't determine what was real and what was fake. I was, again, just existing here on earth. So like with the relationship with the 5-year guy, it was definitely it was a reality, but it was a reality that I no longer wanted to be a part of. Because I'm like, no adult can kick it like this to this magnitude and still get life done. There's no way. And that gentleman had no responsibilities, which I've gone into detail with you about those things before. I like, again, I have a kid. I can't be out with you 4 or 5 times out of the week kicking it, but then what he would do is make fun of me because I couldn't.
Tear you down.
He was narcissistic, so
he triggered you. Narcissists are the number one trigger pillows in eternity. That's what they do. That's like almost their job description.
So stay there. Go and break that down. Y'all dig into narcissistic real quick. Come on, therapist.
Okay. So narcissists, because they are narcissistic, they think that everything revolves around them and nothing pops off literally unless they initiate it. It's a control thing. So by your very existence, you exist for their entertainment and their functionality. So Lil Webby, I guess I'm imagining you sitting at the house, trying to do lesson plans, trying to take care of your kid, trying to do the things that you need to do after kicking it for 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, 2, 3 days a week. And he's sitting there talking about, bet you wish you could come out with me.
Yes.
That part.
Like the weeks that part. So I'll go into detail. My ex-husband and I share custody week to week. So the weeks that and at the beginning of that, it used to be really weird. Doesn't matter now. But so 4th of July, I'll never forget, I had my daughter. And I wanted to go do fireworks and do stuff, kind of spend time with him and her, whatever. And he was like, I'm not doing that with you tonight. I ain't had no kid. That was you. I'm finna go hang out. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Pulled that trigger, didn't he?
And I was like,
God, dog.
That dude was raw.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. Man, that's real.
Like on Valentine's, like not after the first Valentine's Day, he came and did this grandiose gesture. The very first Valentine's Day, every subsequent Valentine's Day after that was sucky. It sucked miserably. He was like, we ain't got to do nothing for what? What I need to spend money on you for?
Wow. Is this gentleman? Is he intact? Does he have all of his? Is there any battle wounds? Left, just any damage.
We're not doing that. Don't do that.
He is still intact. When I made the final decision to go ahead and leave him alone, I have not heard his voice in almost 4 years.
Good.
And people ask me, and I'm like, he's a narcissist. And what I've read about narcissistic people, it's best for you to go on and move on about your life, because once they if they come in contact with you, they're going to try their hardest to bait you back in. And because I am now aware of this, and not saying I'm not strong enough to deal with it, but why even put myself in the situation where I know that's what he's going to try to do? And because our families were so connected, I always find out when he's looking for me. To this day, he is still trying to find me.
You know why he can't find you? Because you ain't in them streets.
So let me ask you this. It's a two-part question. Because I was, once again, I tell you, I do my research. I have people I talk to that are trustworthy. So you said in them streets. So two-part question. When do you ever get tired of casually dating? And the second part of this question, I hear this all the time. I mean, clearly all the time. Men and women say, man, stay where you at, because ain't nothing in these streets. Right? Is that a true statement?
Ain't nothing in these streets but asphalt. That's what's in the streets.
7-Eleven and legs. That's what's out here. See, you know what? Miss Roy, he trying to put me on the couch. I picked you while you trying to put me on the couch.
I would never do that, player.
It's okay. I don't have a problem.
I got your back.
Lay down. Talk.
Okay. So when did I get tired of casually dating? When it's multifaceted answer, since you asked me a two-part question, you're gonna get later. So one, when I was giving off girlfriend vibes to someone who was blatantly telling me that he did not want to be my boyfriend. Two, when I started doing things or getting comfortable with them being around, knowing that he didn't want to be around. I was like, this is familiar. I miss being a wife. I like this a little bit. I liked what he was representing, not him.
Right.
And I was like, this whole casual dating foolishness is for the birds. See, I got married at 23 years old. And I didn't date a whole lot prior to me getting married. I didn't date until after the second guy that I was with. I had been in 2 relationships that had totaled to almost 20 years. 1 11, 1 5.
Okay.
So
I add up my marriages too.
So yeah, I didn't start dating. So when I left the second relationship, I was like, oh, date, cool. I don't want to be tied down to nobody anyway. I spent the better part of 20 years dealing with somebody else for whatever reason. So I was like, I don't want to do this. But I quickly realized that it's not for me. But I don't see that in you. Had I not experienced that.
So would you say, Lil Webby, that sometimes you have to be in the streets to realize that there's nothing in them?
Wow. I don't want the streets. I'm not going. Y'all can do what y'all want to do. I ain't going. And the reason why I want you to tell that story, because Slim Thick even said that she said doing her therapy session, she realized she's never been in a real relationship. So the relationship that she's in now, it's just like a whole mind boggle to her certain times, because you never been in a relationship. But I want y'all to talk about that. You know, when you say, not her, but talk about that whole phrase, never have been in a real relationship. Now, I'm 44. I think you 39, right, Lil Webby? And Christina, you what?
43.
Okay, 43. So we done been out here dating a little bit. I mean, even when I hear that, I can't say I haven't been in a real relationship, but some people be like, well, you've been married, so that's a difference. I understand that part. I get it. But I think I've been in some real relationships. You know, my first one, that was a real relationship. I was with her. I almost through college, through my sophomore year of college before we split. And then, when I was with Ty. So, those relationships were extraneous, you know what I'm saying? So when I hear people say I've never been in a real relationship, and you've been dating and you 37, 39, 40, 50 years old, how do you come to that revelation that you've never been in a real relationship?
Because you never had real relations, deeper content. There's that surface level, or like Lil Webby says, real and fake. When it's real, you might want to stick around for a minute. You might, find yourself trying to get to know that person beyond, getting naked physically and getting naked mentally.
But if you've been around fake so long, how do you know what's
Right.
real?
How do you know what's real? That's a very good question.
That's gonna be hard.
That's very hard because, and you can't say, well, when it hurts, because hurt it is hurt. You can hurt by yourself. You can hurt your own self. Like you were saying, Lil Webby, you dated somebody that didn't want to be there, but you continually dating them, frustrated.
And we didn't really date per se.
Oh, so it was a situationship.
Yeah, it was a situationship, and he was very honest and upfront about that, and I was okay with that too. So I'm not gonna paint that picture like that, but he was very clear that he didn't want to be in a relationship. But I, just because of who I am, was giving off girlfriend vibes. Yeah, and he called me out on it, and I got offended. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Oh, I am giving off girlfriend vibes when I know good and doggone well you don't want to be like that."
Right.
So I heard this phrase today. I heard this phrase that if you don't heal from your depressions, your fears, and what I want to say. Basically, if you don't, I want to make sure I'm saying it right. If you hold on.
He got to check. He got to.
Because I like to make sure I'm saying it right. If you don't deal with your fears, your depressions, and the honesty about yourself, sooner or later it'll catch up with you.
Absolutely.
Or no, sooner or later it will deal with you.
The world's gonna deal with you regardless.
True.
If you choose to deal with your issues or not, the world will make sure it does.
Mm-hmm. You will be dealt with accordingly.
Well,
no one leaves the world unchecked.
So, and then to go along with that, I watched this. So I don't know if y'all watch it, but I've always watched from a long time ago. I watched 90 Day Fiance. I'm starting to watch, if y'all get a chance to watch this show called Ultimatum. And I like to watch Blind Love. It's crazy. Blind Love, I really like.
Ultimatum. I just like to say that right now. That is the stupidest hot mess ever. It inflicts my ire. It makes me look at this. I'm twitching just because you just done said I saw it by accident.
But you need to watch it because it's like, wow. People really put themselves in these situations, and then one chick on there named April, she honestly broke down, like terribly broke down, and when they was going through it, and you got to watch it. She's with a dude named Jake. But in the show 90 Day Fiance, the pastor that's in there, he makes this comment. He says, committed relationships are not for punks.
That's so true.
So when you hear that, what do you think?
Because it is a non-stop 7-day a week without holidays job. It's on a whole nother level because you are literally trying to mash two schools of thought into one, and often they don't blend. Marriage and seriousness and commitment, it is not easy. And anybody who says anything about people who've been through divorce or people who've gone through it, I commend people who go through divorce because they had enough sense to say the square doesn't fit in the round hole. You can't.
But could it be because of these fears that we're talking about?
It can be, but sometimes two people do not belong together. Just because you love each other doesn't mean that you should be together. Love is a chemical reaction produced by dopamine and receptors in the brain that can easily misfire. You can't be in love with a crackhead because the crackhead don't love you. And if you're married, I know people who are married to addicts, and the addicts are not married to them. I know workaholics. It's like you have to balance so much. You have to balance, your ability to raise your kids together, ability to raise your finances, you have to really be able to just mesh all that together. And that's hard. And some people think that love is enough. No, it's not. I hate to tell you, America. I'm telling you right now, no more fairy tales. No more Rapunzel.
It's not. It's love is not enough. Is love a factor?
It is.
Absolutely.
Right.
But we were talking earlier, and we were, I'm not finna go church on y'all, but we were talking about 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8. And what God describes love should be. And if we're going off of that, then we are all the way wrong, because we're saying we love
we are
somebody
not patient. We are not kind. We are not. We do not forgive all faults.
Hold on. Go ahead, finish, baby.
Yeah, we're not doing it right at all, because people say, well, why do you love somebody? Well, I love them because they make me feel good. Well, you should make yourself feel good first. You have to be responsible for you to even allow someone to be a compliment in your life.
I like that, because now when you say that, I've also heard when you say love, I love you, and you end it with because, you just made it conditional. Yeah. Because love is supposed to be unconditional.
Right. You just have to love that person for who they are. Period.
I think we're too busy trying to run to the title part of it. Sometimes we just don't let it flow. You know what I'm saying? It just needs to happen naturally. Quit trying to coerce the person to tell you, tell me you love me. I'm not doing that.
And sometimes that title screws it up. Yep. Sometimes you don't need to eat the wedding cake.
That is true.
I mean, I've known couples, shout out to my Hispanic cousins and sisters, who've been together 30, 40 years, and they're not married. And it works. It works. I just, sometimes when you put titles on stuff, we get so enwrapped in that entitlement, because that's that root in entitled, the title. I'm the wife, like you said, Lil Webby. You was doing stuff that was girlfriendish because you felt that entitlement. It just came with it, and a lot of times we get wrapped up in that. We get wrapped up in those titles. So maybe maybe you're right, Greg, for once in your little life. Maybe you're right. We don't.
I don't. So the reason why I say that is that you should let it flow and live in the moment, because I got enough pressures of being a black man. You got enough pressure of being a black woman. The last thing I want you to do is come home and feel pressure. Yeah. I don't want you to feel any pressure. I want you to be you. But I still think in order for a real relationship to work, marriage, or you're dating, you're trying to lead into. So when I date, I say I'm doing it intentionally and purposeful to get to marriage. That doesn't mean I want to marry you today. What I'm saying is that we need to be working towards that goal somehow. The only way that we can work to that goal is by being committed and communicating. Now, I don't mean communicating where, like Lil Webby would tell me when she was 20-something, she'd be in her lungs talking crazy to Mr. But, she learned to err on her ways. What I mean by you're communicating, you're having the hard conversations. I don't care. It doesn't have to be in a romantic relationship. Your kids, your family, your job, church, whatever the case may be. We live in a world of relationships. Mm-hmm. So you have to know how to communicate. And in some of these situations, you have to be committed. If I'm not committed to my job, I don't have one. If I'm not committed in my spiritual life, then I don't have one. You have to be committed. You have to be 100% in all the way. Now, like you said, I would say the biggest thing that taught me that is probably when I did get divorced. And if you've been on the show, you heard my ex-wife say, we quit too soon. She said that because at that time we was trying to figure out how to be married, because she didn't know how to be a wife. I thought I knew because of what I grew up with. And you just hit the nail right on the head. You're taking two different brain cells and trying to mash them in together. So then we have created an argument because we were too busy trying to be right and understood and never wanted to get an understanding. So when she says it now, I can go along with what she said. And then she said at that point in time, she was in pieces and didn't have peace. That's another factor. Or that's when I go into this whole trigger part, and then you living in fear in your head, right? So let me ask you this. How do you know that how do you know that you are how do you know you found the right person to marry?
I can't answer that question because I'm wrong. I've been wrong, and I don't. I
hate
do
you
not
so
like.
much right now. So much right now. I need you to be a therapist, not
I cannot.
yourself.
You know what? I am not a
Jesus
hypocrite.
Christ.
I am not a
You're right.
hypocrite.
Now you all
I
right. You're
am
not.
not a
I
hypocrite.
do believe that.
You know,
I do
just
believe
because I got the license means I sat in the class and could take the test. Don't necessarily mean life got it right. Maybe that's why I'm such an effective therapist
That's
because I
why.
screwed
See,
it all up.
that's why I like you. That's why I like you. You speak honest all your life. See, the truth is not a hard pill to swallow because you just swallowed it. But okay, we're gonna bypass her. Lil Webby, go ahead.
I don't know if there is a one.
True. I don't think it's one.
I don't think there's a one. And the reason being because I believe that we have been given opportunities with other people. And for whatever reason, it just didn't work out because of either mainly because of choice. So I think when it's that person that you're choosing to marry, are we compatible? Can we have tough conversations? Do I feel safe with you? That's big for me. Can I be myself with you? Can I look at you and look in the mirror and see my own reflection? Which we talked about earlier today.
Go ahead. You can go ahead. Yeah. Good segue. Go ahead. Explain what you just said, player.
I was telling him earlier about my mate needs to be a reflection of me. I said, we always talk about the representation when we're not around each other, represent me well, this and that and the third. But what about the reflection? Can I look at you? Can I have a conversation with you? Can I encourage you? Can you encourage me? Can you bring me a grievance and I not storm out the room because you brought me a grievance? Can I look at you? Yeah, and can I look at you with open arms and loving arms? Because it's no difference than I was saying when you affirm yourself in the mirror. Your mate should be able to affirm you, encourage you, tell you what it is and what it ain't, just like you would do yourself in the mirror.
Well, she said it. I like, well, that blessed my life. Woo. Let me see this reflection. But that's real.
That is.
That's real. And I can, to add on to that, I guess for me, in order for me to, the thing that tells me that I can necessarily marry you is one part you said, when I can feel be me and be myself around you, and it's a safe environment, and I know that we have a real strong commitment, that tells me I believe we can withstand in anything that comes our way. People, friends, whatever the case may be. When we have a bond, and people know me, I always say this, you have to me, I pay more attention to the friendship than the relationship. Because think about it, your best friend today, you may have fell out with. But I bet if y'all have a conversation, it's rekindled and y'all back to normal. Same thing you need to do with your relationship. It needs to be something where we can fall out, but we can come back together and have a conversation, and then we can get back on the same path and on the street that we need to get on. And it's not, we had this issue and then it's Thursday and we talking about last Monday. I'm not doing that. No, I'm not. It's Thursday. Whatever we talked about Monday should be Monday. Now, I want to give you the freedom to talk about it. If we didn't get to an understanding, you still need some understanding, cool, let's talk. I'm with it. But I'm not trying to rehash everything that we do all the time because we spend too much time on the problem and we never get to a resolution. But I'm glad because I was just going to go to you there with that whole reflection thing that you stated. Or I know you said something about. What else?
You can tell me your thoughts on reflection.
Yeah, I love it, Lil Webby. Bring it home. Bring it home, sister.
So if you say you should be able to, the way that you affirm yourself in the mirror, that person should be able to say it to you, and that's your reflection. I believe the same way, and I'm going to use Jill Scott words. If you know how to tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. Now, scratch that if you know how. If I'm in a committed situation with you, you can tell me what to do. And I know I've done this with many people or many people I dated. I put some women that I've dated in the role already as wife. How do I do that? You know my every move. Before I make a business decision, I talk to you about it. If I'm planning to do something, I ask you, do you have a plan for us for that day? Or do you want to do something that day? My thing is the reflection part for me, my definition will be consideration. See, you know you really want to be with somebody when you can put your own thoughts, your own things in consideration on the back burner and put them before you. Mm-hmm. They have the cliche, you put people before you, well, you put people before you, then they'll put you before them. That's not always the case because some of us are selfish.
And the last will be first.
Right. But when you are putting each other in consideration, think of it like a car. A car has pistons and they go back and forth, right? So I'm pulling, you pulling. I'm pulling, you pulling. But if only one side is pulling, I'm getting tired. I'm gonna have resentment. I'm not going to deal with you. And the next thing you know, I'm gonna find somebody else who's gonna do this with you. Because you don't want to do it. And I'm not gonna beg you. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to do my best to convey to you that I need you to do this with me. But if I have to do all this by myself, then I'm done. And then what's going to happen is the engine's going to lock up. So a lot of us lock up our own relationships by living in fear in our own head. Because either it's different. I've never been in a real relationship. As Lil Webby, she felt like she had to defend herself all the time because of certain things. But you may have somebody in your life you don't have to do that with. And they're trying to show it to you, but because you haven't took off them sunglasses and not looking them through your real lenses, you can't see it. So then I'll be a fool to keep staying here trying to get you to see it. But I don't know how to quit sometimes. But then sometimes God tells you, leave it alone. Because that's not your fight, that's mine. And this is when I heard that story about when that dude was sitting on top of the roof and it was drowned, it was a flood. And he was like, I'm waiting on God to save him. So God sent the boat. Mm-hmm. He didn't get on the boat. Somebody sent the plane. Didn't get on the plane. Then somebody sent something else and he didn't get on it, right? Then when he got to heaven, he was like, God, I waited on you. Why did you come save me? Mm-hmm. Where were you? He was like, I showed up 3 times. See, we sit around and talk about, I'm waiting on the Lord to send them to me. He may have sent them to you. But you was too busy living in your fear in your head. You was too busy worried about the ball dropping. You was too busy trying to self-sabotage your relationship because it was in the cardinal words we say, it's too good to be true. Mm-hmm. You did all that, and the person that would have been there for you, like you prayed, you said you wanted, you could have had. Or sometimes it don't look like the way we want it to look.
That part.
But then we say, that ain't
or
good
the
enough.
way, or it don't look like the way our family wants it to look, or it don't look like the way our friends want it to look, or it don't look like the way society wants it to look.
Right.
And if you spend more time trying to create your own narrative with your new person and leave your old narrative in the past, you may just be surprised what you can develop. But until you do it, you don't know. So before I read this email we got, so Webby, you've been through all this, right? Mm-hmm. So in your current situation, what is so refreshing, better, has you thinking a totally different way, living a different way, or getting you to see life for what it is now, about who you're with today?
Okay. So couple of things. One, this is an individual that is definitely after God's own heart. That's one. And that's one thing that I definitely was praying for. 2, they allow me to be myself, no matter how goofy I am, how off the chain I may be, even when Killer try to come out sometimes.
I ain't no killer, but don't push me.
Sorry, boy. Y'all don't know Killer like I know Killer.
And most importantly, when I told them that I wanted to follow Jesus, they were right there beside me. the entire time being accountable. Yes, this person has definitely set a standard, and it is definitely refreshing to feel the want and the need again without any conditions, not feeling like I was the only benefit in the relationship, because both of us are equally the benefit, and I definitely value him. So.
So you hit the word value. Expand. I want you to explain that. Elaborate on when you say value.
So I believe that people fall out of relationships when they no longer see the value in that person, because as long as you have value in that person, you're going to do whatever you can to do to make sure it doesn't leave you or that you don't lose it. Yeah. But once you no longer care about the value, they're easily discarded.
Wow.
Now, why you choose to no longer value that person, it could be a conglomerate of things. It could be you've lost respect for them, or you got tired of talking. I don't know. It could be a bunch of things. Then there's no value there. But I do think if you start to lose the value, definitely some conversations need to be had and why you're feeling that way. But if I bring that grievance to you, you can't feel attacked either.
Yeah.
Roy, what do you feel about the whole value thing, or being devalued?
I think that's the destruction of relationships, when you start devaluing the person that you're with. You know, you have to treasure that person. And when you treasure someone, you hold it close to your heart. You don't want nothing else, to touch it. So you're going to go through whatever it takes to keep that treasure. If I'm a pirate and I done worked and I done come hard and I done found this treasure, you're not just going to bust up in my ship and take my treasure away from me.
Absolutely.
And so that's the way that we need to love. We need to love with that passion of treasure. That value, that I don't want no one or anything to bust up in my relationship and bust up in my household and take my treasure from me. And or once you lose that value, there you go. Don't push her.
I'm all about protection, and you know that.
Why do I feel that Lil Webby got peace and she got peace?
I don't have any peace of still. I just got peace in my mind.
In that whole ass mouth. That mouth is a killer. A killer. I done heard her go bad on somebody just quickly. And then she'll turn right back into. So with that being said,
individual.
We have mail. We got an email from somebody from the last show. Of course, when Tiffany was on, me, Charles, and Bree.
I missed that show. I'm sorry, guys.
But it's all good. You gotta take care of yourself. So, but this is what it says. It says, "Hello to you all of the Full 180. I'm not an avid viewer, but I have become a subscriber of your show. First, thank you for bringing hard conversations to the table as you have, especially your last show of the truth being a hard pill to swallow. I can confirm that the truth has been hard to swallow. I have been with a man for 6 months and have not truly appreciated who he tries to be in my life. My truth is I have heightened his mistakes, but never acknowledged that I have made the same, and neglected and respected grievances when he brings his feelings to my attention. I have ridiculed and emasculated him with my words and actions. I have shut down on him for days, and yet he still tells me he's here and wants me. I can truly say he has not given me a thought of any kind of malice or unconditional love at no time. He has been my side. He has been by my side through some recent traumas and difficulties, as well as how he interacts with my children. And I want to say out loud that I have taken this for granted. I can say I have not really given all, but have expected him to be 100% committed to the relationship and still deal with mistreatment. I was the person you discussed, living internally, reading more into conversations, not accepting his words, accusations of cheating when I knew his every move. I had to control the narrative because I have given others what they wanted, but still was mistreated. So now I was in a space mentally of I will be in control and it was going to have to be my way. And if not, I would just leave as a method of protection from getting hurt. At this point, I realized I truly care for this man and love him. But it has been scary to me because he is nothing I've ever experienced. So this is my testimony of swallowing the hard pill called truth. And your show made me realize this while I'm still in the relationship. Many of us never get the chance to remain without losing the person first. This has been a hard pill because we are never sure of the consequences and repercussions of our actions. For me, the remorseful thing is I was pushing this man away to the point he stated to me he was going to leave because my happiness meant more to him than us being together. And he wanted me to find whatever made me happy, even if it was not him. I asked why. He said that it was getting frustrating to know I'm doing all to please you, but still felt like he still felt like he was the problem. Even though he didn't want to lose me, he loved me enough to leave. I have been in such a headspace, crying, because to think I have made him feel like a problem when he was not, and the fact that he continued to consider me regardless of the hurt he was feeling. I have been so selfish to him and just seeing my own narrative and not an us narrative. I have spent so much time listening to my circle of what they thought instead of doing what Dr. B stated, which is concentrating on building a life with someone, which is what I truly ran from for so many years. I have so much work to do and a lot of hard conversations ahead, but I'm so thankful that I have someone who is willing to do it with me and still looking at me as the best thing in his life. Now I will give him what he has been so deserving of, me, and pray he can find in his heart to give me the grace and mercy as well as the time to show him that my heart is truly for him. You have opened my eyes, and I want to say thank you for making me stand in my truth. Uh, DJ Tricky, I will say that there are not many men such as you. Your transparency, self-awareness, and heart is not usual in a man. It gives me great hope and encourages me to see a man who knows what he wants and vulnerable to speak about his feelings. I can say this is something we women nowadays fail to seek in a man or take for granted. I can truly see you a man after God's heart. Your freedom inspires me for us to be better communicate for us to do better communicating and be more committed than ever. Again, thank you for this. I really needed it. Let me change that. We really need it. And I will keep you posted, as you say, about developing your own narrative and not search for perfection, but instead progression. I realize I have been the problem and I'm ready to deal with me. Sincerely, time to live in my truth. What y'all think?
She living.
Say what?
She's living.
What you say?
She's living.
Oh.
Because part of living is taking a risk and putting your truth out there.
Real talk. Waving your face is like, what you saying?
Well, I commend her for even recognizing that she was doing that before it was too late.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. Normally, sometimes we realize it either after we left the person or after it's already resolved.
Right. And that man is still there, still choosing her. And hopefully she'll continue to create her own narrative and get out of her own way.
Yes, ma'am. Well, look, man, I appreciate y'all. The expiring therapist, the therapist, you got into the mental part, the internal part. Y'all have even taught me something. And don't go around telling everybody
so much.
I had a trigger, whatever. But it's time for your moment of truth. So, Lil Webby, you the guest. So I'm gonna start with you. What is your moment of truth?
Oh God, I've had 6 hours worth of moment of truth today. So I'm a little out for words right now, but I guess if I have to give you one, is that I'm glad that I took a chance on love again, and I'm definitely enjoying this ride.
Cool beans. Miss Roy.
If you find something that you can treasure, if you are lucky enough to find that buried treasure it. Do whatever it takes to keep that treasure valued, to know that it's valued, to know that it's cherished. And don't let any other pirates come up and try to steal your treasure. Because if not, you'll be left with nothing. And love is a misunderstanding between two fools. But if you have an interpreter, maybe you can make it.
Oh, I like that. Interpretation, reflection. Well, y'all just try to beat me up. Y'all try to get me to cry. It ain't gonna happen today. I'm a G. Ain't that right we say, Lil Webby? I'm a G. I'm a G. Girl, whatever. You ain't no G. Mama the truth. Hey, man. Learn what commitment is. That's my mama the truth. Just learn what commitment is. It could take you it could take you further than what you think. Get out of your own way. Get out of your old mindset. Be free. And look, don't be so prideful where you just can't say, look, I messed up. I made it a bad move. I made a wrong decision. Whatever the case is, can we fix it? You don't know how far you can really go if you just say it. You don't know what's going to happen or what can happen out of it. So just be real with yourself. As Webby said, I can't say it any better. That whole reflection thing in the mirror, man, people walk around talking about, you can't tell me what to do. So if that person can't tell you what to do like you tell you what to do, then what are you doing?
That part.
Got to know how to let that guard down. Be willing to be loved and willing to give that same type of love. And I promise you to come back forward. And I can even go biblically with you. God asked his son to come down here and live as us, so we can learn what love and how to be. And if you really know the Bible or you're into the Bible, you'll understand love is nothing but being a servant of each other. And when you learn how to be a servant of each other, it turns you into immaculate leadership. I promise you, because I had to learn it myself. A lot of things I talk about, I didn't know until after the fact. So I leave you with this quote. Heal so you can hear what's being said without the filter of your wound. I think that's a great ending to the show. Taking the triggers. Always a big shout out to my girl, License Roy. Love her to life. Lil Webby. Man, let me tell you, boy. When I tell you she is a communicator, but when I tell you she has a heart of gold and she'll give you the shirt, the bra, and the skin off her back.
The bra. Dang, that's a good one. You a good sister.
She ain't no killer, but don't push.
Lil Webby, you got support. You got the support.
Boy, look. She keep that pistol locked and loaded. Bang, bang.
I ain't had to pull it out in months. Don't do me like that.
She got peace, and she got peace.
Look, right. On behalf of our other members, man, Charles, of course, he's out there taking care of business with better half. Our girl Bree, she's doing mommy duty, man. Oh, and I have to say this out loud. Keep my friend, who has been my friend since 1994, Keisha Stewart, lifted in prayer. She is embarking on the transformation of her mother. If you know my friend, if you know her mother, she is the pillar of that family. Very strong woman, very giving woman. And I plan on seeing her before this transition happens. But I want to publicly say, Miss Barbara Stewart, I love you. You have been very immense in my life. And I thank you for what you've taught me. I thank you for allowing me to come into your life, come into your home, and showing me so much love throughout these years. Me and her daughter have been cool ever since '94, and it's 2022. And when I tell you that has been my road dog ever since day one, that's my one since day one. That's one of the ones since day one, along with Charles. So please keep her lifted up in prayers, man. And DK, you know, if you need, holler at your boy. It ain't nothing. Man, look, man, you know how we do it right here, 8 p.m. all the time. We say 9, but you know, sometimes conversations get real good, so we gotta give it to you. But we thank you for always joining. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you share. If you got a topic you want to talk about, please send it to us in an email. If you're being helped through this, send us an email as you see. I will read it out loud. This is why we do it. We don't do it to be right. We give you our perspective. We don't do it in this subject about me being bitter. I'm not bitter about nothing. My whole thing is that I use my transgressions, my issues, my problems, and give it to you in my experiences, give it to you in my perspective, so you don't make the same mistakes that I had. I want you to be better, not better than me, but we can be better together. And I believe when you have people like this in your life, like License Roy, Lil Webby, Bree, Charles, CB, Lisa, all these people, if you really have watched our show over the last 2 years, each one of them have evolved as a person. Bree used to talk about not being in a relationship, and now she's trying to build one. Lisa is building a relationship and just letting it flow. CB, not getting to his business, let's just say he's embarking on something very special in his life, personally and business-wise. Of course, Charles became more vocal, and me, I am in a very great place, in a great spot in my life. The Lord is blessing me, and I am ecstatic to always be able to give you my truth, to let you know the hard pill is not always able to. It may be hard to swallow, but it is refreshing when you can, and you can just see about my freedom, man. Until we do it next time, right here on Tuesday, man. We want you to always tune in at 8 p.m. to the full 180. Catch us out in the street. You know where I'll be. If not, check my Instagram, check my Facebook. Also, check where Charles will be. If you need services, make sure you hit Christina Roy on you can DM her on her Facebook page. I think she has a Facebook page. Lil Webby, you catch her in these streets, you catch her at the school, you catch her just having a good time. Or look, if I'm somewhere, she's somewhere. That's how we get down. We kick it. Charles, you know where he'll be. Bree, you can always hit her. She's about to graduate, as well as she's doing the same thing as as Lil Webby, embarking on her actual license. Man, we are here. And if you ever need us to talk, we're definitely here. So look, man, I'm going to leave you with this as we get out of here. We're going to see you next Tuesday. Miss Roy got the subject for next Tuesday, because I'm going to let her roll in. Something about teenagers and something.
Yes. I forgot. It's been a year, y'all.
Yes.
I've been on the show. This is my year anniversary.
Congratulations, baby.
I done put up with Greg for a year. Lord bless.
Oh, that's how you really feel. I got it.
No, next week we'll be coming to you with the real list about teenagers, your teenagers, and a special guest will be my 2
teenagers. Oh, my nieces.
Niece 1 and niece Pooh 2.
Lord have mercy. That's gonna be a lot. Yeah. Y'all keep us prayed up, because it's gonna be very interesting. But it's gonna be good, because that's what we do, man. We like to have good content and context right here on the full 180 Convo. Catch us in these streets, catch us at Juneteenth. When we go live. Lil Webby, if you're available, might need you on the panel, Sada.
Bang bang.
Pow pow. Y'all be good, man. Have a good Wednesday. I'll see y'all on the other side. Thank you for joining 180.
Let me get this out the way, so there ain't no complications later on for us. No, I know things don't stay the same. People grow and seasons change. When it comes to love, don't you feel like you ever gotta worry about my feelings?
You made me laugh out loud when you said when you that face at the end of the show.
I can't hear you. What you say?
That face you made is
world
true.
and the
Oh, he know why I made that face.
to question.
I was like, oh, okay, this
The
is pretty good.
answer is yes. When two
Hey man,
or
He know
three
why
is
I made that face.
she been giving out all them nuggets all day. Look, we try to bless these people. Hey, y'all messing up my song with all this talking though.
I still think you're beautiful, cause I'm more attracted to what's inside
Listen
of
to the song. Y'all
you. You
doing
don't
too
have to guess. The answer is yes.
Yes.
Cause I love you. All I care about is your happiness. So the answer is yes. People just don't stick around, build you up and let you down. But I'm not one of those. Now I understand that you've been burned. Honesty is what you deserve. Yeah, and so that's what I'm giving you, girl. So when the world and the odds are against us, you won't have to question. The answer is yes. When 2 or 3 years from now, you start having some doubts about if this love will last. The answer is yes. I still think you're beautiful, cause I'm more attracted to what's inside of you. You don't have to guess. The answer is yeah with you.
Oh, I almost forgot. Happy birthday to my Uncle Tony, Uncle D.
The answer is no. I'm dedicated to what we have. But will I be here the way that I promised? I'll say with no fear. The answer is yes. When 2 or 3 years from now, you start having some doubts about if this love will last. The answer is yes. And I still think you're beautiful, cause I'm more attracted to what's inside of you. You don't have to guess. The answer is yes. When 2 or 3 years from now, you start having some doubts about if this love will last. The answer is yes. I still think you're beautiful, cause I'm more attracted to what's inside of you. You don't have to guess. The answer is yes.
That's all, folks.